the Jeff Meacham Network's Multiverse of Media. For over 15 years, the recognized symbol of excellence and the standard bearer in coverage of sports and entertainment. The following views are strictly the views of JHebert and do not represent anybody that works with the Jeff Meacham Network Multiverse of Media or is a part of the Jeff Meacham Network Multiverse of Media.
Straight from JHebert Studios, James covers the good, the bad, and the ugly, and gives his perspective on things. Now here is your host, JHebert.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to yet another JHebert side. Oh my god. 2 uploads of this podcast in a row. It's actually a miracle. Especially if you know me. So yeah, here we are. We're going to be doing this, and yeah, basically, we're going to talk about whatever. I don't usually have a format when it comes to this show. I just kind of talk about whatever. There's a few things I definitely wanted to talk about as we talk about them. Now, I didn't necessarily prepare for this because old JHebert side of things would kind of have a layout and a structure to them. But this one's going to be a little bit different because I just kind of want to chat specifically about things that are kind of happening in the world of combat sports. Maybe a couple other things as well, just kind of get that out of the way. So, as you guys can see, this is going to be released probably sometime in February. I'm actually recording this in January right now, like a week and a half before February officially starts. Basically, I'm getting these recorded ahead of time because I'm not going to have any content otherwise, and JHebert side of things is really the only thing I can really do right now. Mainly because the Don DeMarco show and everything in relation to that is kind of a work in progress. Same with Character Select as of right now. So things are slowly kind of coming together when it comes to that. That and I just have a lot of IRL responsibilities that I kind of have to tend to as well. Right after I'm finished with my uncle's documentary. So I'm going to be rather busy. So I figured at least get some content out. That way, at least this is kind of taken care of. So it's kind of what we're going to do. I figured it's kind of the best way to go about this stuff. So, you know, that said, just kind of wanted to talk about the closure of Showtime Boxing and Bellator. That's how we're gonna start this off. Because, again, we're covering professional wrestling again as well. I'll get to the professional wrestling portion in a second. Actually, I will state this now right out of the gate. I know I said, why I'm done with pro wrestling, and that was ages ago. I'm going to be covering it again sparsely. I'm not going to be doing full reviews or anything. I'm going to be doing my content. I'll be showing up here and there for open mic night. Still, unless I feel I can handle it. We'll see where that goes. Maybe I'll come on a lot more often. I know by the time you see this, you would have seen the last episode I would have been on, which would have been the one talking about Maranello, which it was in relation to Showtime Boxing and Bellator's closure. But as far as pro wrestling goes, what I really realize now is and this is especially true considering I have a very good crew around me now. People actually fucking value my opinions, and don't shit on me in the crew that I currently have around me. Um, it's almost like people are allowed to have different opinions and go about them in certain ways and not fucking take offense to every little goddamn thing known to man. If you know, you know. Yeah, I said it. So what? Fucking fight me. Anyway. Yeah, so I'm back to doing it. And I'm definitely going to be covering this stuff a little bit more in depth when it comes to Tony Khan and his bullshit. We'll get to that as we get closer to the end of the podcast. But we're gonna start with Showtime, and we're gonna go into Bellator, and then we'll go into AEW and wrestling and TNA as well. We're gonna be covering that. Hell, I might even throw a little curveball in there. Who knows? But Bellator MMA closed down. I don't necessarily know the reasons why it closed down. My dad would know more about that, and that's why I'm probably gonna ask him a little bit more. I'll probably have a follow-up podcast as far as that goes, but from what I understand, they were just losing money. Is very similar to WC or ECW and how it closed down. It was not generating enough revenue to even stay afloat. So we're gonna look up Bellator closing down and see what the hell's going on there. Closing down. Yeah, Paramount is selling its stake in Bellator. So pretty much right after, right before the end of 2023, they were selling their stake in Bellator. They wanted no part of it anymore. Partly, I think they've been struggling Bellator ever since Spike TV kind of turned into Paramount, and the management there has been what it has been. So they acquired Bellator, the Professional Fighters League. So the PFL is the one who acquired Bellator and bought them out essentially. So they kind of bought them out. Article that I'm reading this from is from sportsvideo.org, and the author of this article is Jason Dackman. And this was done on November 20th, 2023. Paramount is selling a stake in Bellator on the heels of announcing that it would shut down Showtime Sports and shifting all programming under the CBS Sports umbrella at the end of 2023. Paramount has also decided to halt live boxing matches as part of this announcement. So hence why, and there's really no reason to kind of look over Showtime and that whole thing because it explains it here. So Showtime Boxing and Bellator got the axe because of this. They, basically what happened, it's kind of a combination of WCW and ECW. They were already hemorrhaging money. And then without a TV rights deal, they were fucked. So it kind of made it worse for them. Which is a goddamn shame because, the height of Bellator, it was probably the only thing that came close to rivaling the UFC. There's been attempts since. I mean, you had the One Fighting Championship League. You had the PFL, which is essentially who bought them out. So anything Bellator, I assume, is just acquired by the Professional Fighters League now. So I'm not really sure what's gonna be of those championships, if they're gonna unify the Bellator titles. I have no idea what the hell is gonna go on, but it really is a shame because Bellator is right now shut down for the time being. Showtime as well. I believe a new boxing league has started already under the same regime, but like a different network is covering it now, from what my dad has told me. So that boxing league is okay. Bellator is not, from my understanding. I mean, they got bought out by PFL, but essentially it kind of got liquidized with PFL. So I think it's a WCW, ECW kind of thing, where they liquidized all the assets. Um, it's really weird that Bellator is at a state where they're just kind of there now, and they're not. It's been that way for a while, and now they're literally bought out by a lesser known company here, which is it's just crazy to me. So yeah, I mean, it's just weird. It's a weird state when it comes to the MMA world because essentially UFC is once again a monopoly, kinda. I mean, you got one, but that's in South Korea, so that's really non-factor. It's basically taken over where Pride left off, and I say that very loosely. And then you have, I guess, the PFL, and that's like, I guess by default, the third biggest promotion now, but even then it's just like, eh. So it's a nothing, and now you're literally just got Strikeforce and UFC, which is owned by the same fucking company, which is TKO. So, like, yeah, it's a weird state. I'm not surprised by that outcome. I think the biggest takeaway from that is where the fuck is Morrow gonna do now? Because this is the first time I think Mauro Ranallo has done or has nothing going on in years. That dude has worked his ass off and been busting his ass for a very long time. Personally, if I'm him, I'm taking the much needed break just to kind of recharge at this point. But again, we talked about it on the open mic night. By the time you see this, is like, where could Morrow go? That's like my biggest takeaway for that. Again, if you want to hear my thoughts on that and hear everybody else's thoughts on that, you can go check out open mic night. But yeah, it was really interesting for me to hear that because I'm just like, okay, fucking hell. Bellator, I didn't expect, especially like towards the tail end of 2023. I did not expect Bellator and Showtime boxing to be done. And the reason I wanted to bring that up first is I do think people take everything they have for granted a lot, and they assume everything is how it is and is just like timeless. This is proof of that if you make enough mistakes, you are fucked. And that's where it leads into AEW. And what's going on with TNA will lead into after that. So, again, this is covering all combat sports, but I wanted to bring this up because it ties into the AEW thing. So, for those who haven't even seen it, Tony Khan went on a bitch fit as per goddamn usual. We'll go and actually look at my rant from that open mic night because I think people, need the context in that regard anyway. But it was what it was. And yeah, it just looks like bad. We're gonna look at the rant first, but essentially he went on a bitch fit, and this is right on the heels of what's coming up with TNA. TNA is having their big comeback. If you missed it, Jeff Meacham Network actually did the first ever simulcast where we covered AEW Collision Battle of the Belts on one stream, which I was on for, and then TNA Hard to Kill, which Noah and Jeff were on for. So it was, crazy. I was on with JJ and Walter calling the AEW show, and when I fucking heard Tony had a bitch fit, I'm like, yeah, not surprised. So yeah, we're gonna take a look at this rant that I gave, and I want you to tell me where I'm telling lies, because seriously, everything I say I think is 100% accurate, and it starts off with Walter's rant really, and then it leads into mine. So there you go. All right, so got the video up now. So let's take a look at this rant. and just kind of how we went about it. Again, starts with Walter, a little bit of JJ's, but yeah, I go off on this, and then I'm gonna go in more in depth as we listen to it. But yeah,
Appreciate you.
yeah,
I don't agree that they should pull the plug on all wrestling marks,
Yeah.
because at the end of the day, all of us on this panel are wrestling marks.
yeah,
Yep.
right.
And so if you pull the plug on all marks, you pull the plug on people like us who use the platform to publicize our shows, to try to grow our audience.
Yeah.
We use it properly the way it's intended to be used.
Yeah.
It's
And see,
amazing.
and see, here's the be all end all for me. And the name I'm gonna bring up is a very toxic YouTuber, so forgive me in advance.
Right.
But
Before he even mentions his name, because I know where he's about to go on to next. Let's just get this out of the way right now. For those who need additional context, we are talking about the debacle that Tony Khan had when it comes to WWE and their utilization of Jinder Mahal. I believe it was the Raw where he challenged Seth Rollins, where they made a impromptu match for the world title, basically. And just kind of gave it to him, even though Jinder Mahal has like the worst win-loss record in the entire business. Tony got offended, and I guess there was supposedly trolls, and I can't even say supposedly, because definitely, probably, trolls attacked him, and then he got fucking heated about it. So he felt the need to defend himself and basically shit on WWE in the process, which made him look like a petulant fucking child. Like, who gives a shit? You got way bigger fish to fry than this shit right now. But anyway, there's the additional context. Now we continue.
I, on a whim, because he just happened to be live streaming when all this was going on, I watched a video from JD from NY.
Ugh.
On purpose.
Hang on, James.
The guy that was with him, Andrew, I forget his last name, forgive me, brought up a very relevant point here in all of this that really got me to think. Because he claims Tony Khan isn't as stupid as we think that he is. Tony Khan brought all this up on Tuesday night because nobody was talking about Dynamite. Nobody was talking about the AEW product. AEW was going home to Daly's place. Steen was going to be in action. Edge was going to be on the show. Nobody is talking about this.
Right.
Tony Khan goes to social media. Granted, not the way I would have handled it, but his tweet prior to that had like 300,000 interactions.
Good Lord.
That tweet and the ones that followed had like 5, 6, 7 million interactions.
We'll get to that in a second, but I believe the video. Oh, by the way, apparently Raw is the prime video. It is the new home for Raw. That's crazy. Okay. What the fuck? That's a new thing. Or maybe it's a question mark. I don't know. But there's probably a rumor thing that's not substantiated, so I'm not even going to say that's true. But any goddamn way. I have no idea, man. I have no idea. I'm looking through. I have no idea what the fuck is going on. I tried to look through JD's feed, unfortunately, because I don't know what podcast that would have been on. Because I swear to God, I don't even know if I thought Andrew was Chi-Town Smart, but I swear his name wasn't Andrew. So, no idea. I'm going to look it up, though, real quick before we continue on. just because I don't want to look like an idiot here. But I believe that might be Shaitan Smart. He's the only one that I actually give a shit about at this point. Yeah, and exactly what I saw. Yeah, looks like his name is... No, his name is Jesse. So Andrew must be another person. But apparently Andrew said, well, he's not as dumb as he thinks. So, in relation to this, and I'm just going to say this right away, and I think I mentioned it in this podcast, but it doesn't do anything. They're not going to check out the show. They're just going to clown on him for being a fucking clown. It's not going to drive viewers to the product. And it was a case in point of not a lot of people tuned in to see, and they're probably not going to tune in to see Hook versus Samoa Joe, which is going to happen in literally an hour's time. I'm going to fucking check out Hook versus Samoa Joe by the time this is done, because they actually intrigued me enough to actually check that match out. But that's because I don't really give a shit like what the fuck WWE does, and I'm not gonna watch either way really. You know, the only time I'll watch maybe is a Rumble, the Royal Rumble, maybe Mania, maybe, and that's gonna be like on my own leisure, and then fuck off with the rest of it. AEW, same kind of thing. I'll check out stuff that interests me if stuff interests me. Jinder Mahal was not going to interest me, so Hook interests me a lot more, so I'm going to check out Hook. People that are with WWE are going to be with WWE, and you will not fucking change their minds. It is like fucking pulling teeth. You might as well just stop trying, because all it's going to do is hurt you in the long run. So, the fact that he even had to make a statement about that and felt so inclined to fucking make a statement. What the fuck does that do? It makes your company look Bush League, which has been the biggest fucking problem and the biggest criticism that everybody has had, including the biggest star of the company at that fucking point, who fucked off for legitimate reasons in that regard. It makes it look fucking amateur. Like, it doesn't do anything. It's not going to drive viewers to your product, ever. Anyway, we're going to continue with this rant before I get too deep into the weeds on that one, but...
Not all publicity is bad publicity. In just a couple of tweets, he got people to start talking about AEW and Dynamite again.
Mm-hmm.
Now, again, is it the way I would have handled it?
Nope.
No. Is it the way any of us on this panel would have handled it?
Nope.
More than likely not.
Nope.
Can't say no flat out, but more than likely not. But if that was his end game, mission accomplished.
Right.
Like you said, Noah, he's been pretty quiet, so I'm going to go to Walter next. And then Walter can throw to who he wants to go to next.
This is where he goes to me.
Yep, Walter, you throw the mic wherever you wish. Give your thoughts on this. And to JJ's point, keyword there, publicity. In this day and age of connective social media engagement and publicity, if you're getting talked about, is it always a good thing? You're drawing attention, but also are you drawing more backlash than profit? Are they losing more than they are gaining? Or are they still sitting right in the middle of all this madness? Clowns to the left of me, jokers to the right. Here I am stuck in the middle with you.
Real quick, I'm going to mention this little comment here, and I want to read it, because I think at one point I did want to mention this, but considering it was an anniversary special, we didn't want to harp on this at the time. We didn't have the time, but I'll talk about this comment here. When you have all the toxic, tribalistic bandwagoners on social media, that is what you get. This is why even creators like James Gunn respond to people talking about DC movies. Same kind of thing. Yeah. Here's the difference. you can listen to criticism and not respond to it, and you could choose to either ignore it and not talk about it, or respond and drive more people away by responding. Because that is what you were going to do if you do that in this day and age. You see anybody in Marvel fucking, coming out and shitting on people talking about the fucking how bad the Marvel movies have been since Endgame? No. You don't see that because nobody fucking from Marvel Co. fucking does so. And if they do, it's very fucking rare. If this fucking guy like James Gunn is responding to any of those fucking people that are shitting on his movie, whether the criticism's legitimate or not, you're already fucking up. What are you doing? You are not helping your fucking case. So, this argument completely fucking... It's a completely mute point, because you shouldn't be doing it regardless of whatever fucking industry it is. Continuing.
You. Insert Tony Khan here. Your thoughts, Walter.
Yeah, not all publicity, but I can say 4 words to Tony Khan. Grow the fuck up. Like, please, like, you're running what you want to be a billion-dollar company to compete with WWE, and then you do child shit like this. Now, I got a duplicate stream of because I just want to show Tony how easy this is. Watch this.
Yeah. Good one. Great one. I love that. That was...
See what I did? I logged the hell off. Yeah. Get off of Twitter. Get off of the shit. Can't stay away from things. But if he did do it as a publicity stunt, like JJ said, mission accomplished. You did well. But you see how easy it is?
Even then. I think I even mentioned it on the stream. Don't agree with it because, again, you're not going to get any of those fucking people. You may get a fifth of that fucking of that interaction to actually tune into your shit. But anyway, continuing.
Is to just shut social media off and shut it off. I did that in 2 seconds. That's all you got to do, Tony. Grow the fuck up and get off of it because you're acting like you're 10, like you're doing child rants. And then we said it on the stream before when I was me, Jeff, Jay, we were all talking about it. It was like, then you keep interacting and keep replying to the fans. They keep trolling you. They're not going to stop because they know they rally you up. It's like, I got 3 kids. And when I tell you, the little kid keeps getting triggered by the bigger kid. And I'm like, because you keep reacting, he's not going to stop. Stop reacting. And then he's got nothing to do. But you want to keep reacting over and over again.
Yep.
And it's not going to stop. Stay the hell off of it. And like JJ said, a former president literally got kicked off of Twitter. They took his Twitter away and everything. And then this guy is just all willy-nilly tweeting whatever he wants. Like, I'm so done with him. Like,
I will say, and I don't know if I even mentioned this point, it isn't even a matter of Tony needs to be off of Twitter, in my opinion. Although, if he keeps acting like this, maybe that's exactly what he fucking needs to do. It's the fact that nobody's telling him fucking stop. It's the fact that he can't even tell himself fucking stop. That's the problem. So, it's a control issue. It's like... Freedom of speech is freedom of speech, regardless of what the fuck we like about it or not. You gotta like the parts of you gotta like the whole Constitution, not just the parts you like, right? Just how it is. Now, with that being said, with every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. Tony Khan found that out firsthand, and then he just kept doubling down and tripling down. So again, I think he needs to have that fucking shit completely taken away from him. Anyway, we move. Yep.
Focus on your product and making a better product. And for instance, doing Battle of the Belts where actual belts can change hands and we can expect good matches with different titles. Focus on that shit, not tweeting what another company is doing. Worry about your company, not what WWE is doing. Don't worry about Jinder Mahal and Seth. Worry about who's your champion and what you're putting products on set. Worry about that. Why are you worried about WWE? Like, and he's been doing that since AEW started. You always mention WWE or have your wrestlers in a promo take a shot. Stop doing that shit. Focus on you and you alone. All you do is take shots. Like, stop the shit. Run out of ammo eventually.
Yeah.
Stop taking the shots.
This isn't a college kegger.
Yeah,
Exactly.
and if I could,
I mean, I understand taking a shot to WWE on occasion,
can you tell how bad I
but
wanted
to
to
do
fucking
it
jump in on
every
this, by the
week
way?
and at least one promo, it's just not. It's no.
Overkill. It's
Especially when you said, I'm not going to make the mistakes WCW gives.
Dude!
Like this.
Yeah!
James, calm down.
Let's check this out.
Calm down,
Signing a bunch of former WWE stars and not knowing what to do with them. Shaq. Giving people big fat contracts like you did Punk and everything. How'd that work out for you? Putting too many at the time, putting the wrong people in charge.
Motherfuckers, man.
EVPs.
Like, we just know. Like, there are moments where we realize we're on camera. It's like, okay, well, we gotta make a funny gag out of this somehow. And then Jeff and Noah start fanning me off. I just caught that now, like, after watching it a second time.
How did that work out for you? I
Yeah.
thought you weren't going to make the same mistakes WCW was making. What the hell are you
Issuing
doing, Tony?
challenges to WWE.
Yeah. I mean, Walter's saying everything I'm going to say. He's going to take everything I was going to say. Walter, I'll just jump on your back right now.
Go ahead.
Go
ahead, James.
What happened to the biggest star of the company that was drawing the most fucking money? What happened to him, Tony? Oh, you're concerned with so many trolls, but you're not concerned with, I don't know, your backstage etiquette in your fucking locker room, which has plagued your company for months. Oh, but you're concerned with some Twitter troll. Okay. Real quick, I also want to just point this out because I forgot to even mention this in my rant. Doesn't want to make mistakes like WCW made. Proceeds to make the exact same mistake, if not worse off, than WCW made because with the Hogan fucking fiasco at Bash at the Beach. Probably, if not way worse in context. Fucking made the same goddamn mistake. So that's bullshit. You're bullshitting us completely. You've made the same mistakes over and over again. You fucking had the biggest star, the biggest draw in your company that was trying to make stars out of your younger talent by the end of it, was supposed to put over your number one heel that was turning babyface. He was going to go full heel and he was going to put that motherfucker over. And you fucked it. On multiple occasions, because you did not want to give that motherfucker any chance to fucking apologize and make amends with the Elite because the Elite did not want to play ball. You have got to be out of your fucking mind if you're telling me you're not making the same mistake. Sorry, I forgot to even mention that. It's so fucking rich that he says that, of all fucking things. You absolutely have made the same mistakes that WCW made to a much worse degree. Yeah, because that's where the priorities lie. Okay. Continue, Walter, as you were saying.
Damn.
Pretty much done. I went on my rant, so go ahead, James. Throw it to you.
Honestly, dude, it's like, focus on your shit, okay? Focus on it. Oh, hi, Jeff. Focus on that. Seriously, focus on what the fuck you're producing on television. I don't know how many times I have to fucking say it. And I saw reports from No DQ, and I'm going to say that.
Good man.
Okay? Where these people on social media were like saying that, oh, if this was back in the Attitude Era, blah, 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 you would have been, this would have been, A-okay. Yeah. How well did that go for WCW? We want to talk about WCW mistakes. Now, granted, it wasn't going to be the thing that killed them off anyway. As we have well established, thanks to Mr. Man on the Marquee here. However, you got fucking this jabroni who has barely been in the freaking business for about the lifespan of a mouse trying to fucking say, oh, well, if if this happened in the Attitude Era, you would have been fun. Yeah, newsflash, dumbass, it's not the Attitude Era anymore. Big companies up, big other companies up, not tear them down. And if you ain't got nothing nice to say, don't say anything at all and focus on the shit that you're doing. It's 2023, 1998. Grow the fuck up and stop living in the goddamn past and stop having people around your inner circle saying, oh, you should do this. Oh, you should do that. Stop paying attention to this shit. When Vince McMahon was in charge of the WWF to WWE, how rarely do you see him interact with marks on social media like us?
Zero.
Name one time he's done that. Not a single time. By the way, he's not the only one to ever do that either, by the way. Even long after they have fucking retired. Some people have. But those same people have immediately tarnished their legacy because all they are doing, playing armchair quarterback. What the fuck does that accomplish? What are you doing? You're doing exactly what they're doing. You're just way worse off it because you are the president of a company that should be focusing on its own television.
The owner.
You're the owner. Stop acting like a man-child. Get off Twitter. Grow the F up. Stop taking pointers from certain members of the IWC
I didn't even
face value.
Sorry, I didn't even clock that JJ. The comment JJ was pointing down to. I was so listening to what I said, so I can elaborate more on that I didn't even notice he was pointing to that. I appreciate you thinking that I could run a company, but unfortunately that didn't exactly go well with a company that was making no money. So I don't know.
Get off Twitter.
Guess it's not hard to book though.
Stop taking pointers from certain members of the IWC for face value and actually just focus on the shit you're producing on television. That is what the fans have been dying for months. We have been saying this. Get control of your locker room. Have Danielson discipline motherfuckers. Start actually producing content that's palatable to the audience, especially those who have left for a long period of time. Hello.
Especially those of us that, feel the need to contribute our watch-alongs to your product. And here we are, which was a good show. Let's not, from what I heard, it was a good show. But again, it's not the focus because of what he has done.
And to this and to this comment as well, I do want to point this out because taking criticism on social media, you can.
Yeah.
I don't think there wasn't a day that went by, even if he dismissed a lot of it, where he didn't listen to what fans were saying on social media and probably had it fed through him. Okay? Let's not kid ourselves here. That happened. That happens in any business. He dismissed a lot of it, which was definitely more on Vince McMahon than it was on anybody else.
There's a way, to elaborate on this point, there's a way to take in the criticism that's online or on video or wherever, and you can dissect it. You can take the good parts of it, take the shit that don't matter, compartmentalize the both, and work on making your product better from what they said. You could do that with any goddamn thing, any amount of words you can change, okay? There are also those types of people that, just complain for the sake of complaining. And for those who think that they are not heard, are the fucking Karens of the world. Fuck them. You don't need to pay attention to them. You don't need to talk to them. You don't need to interact with those trolls. You just don't need to do it. Period. So, just wanted to add a little bit of elaboration on that particular point.
Point still stands. He didn't freaking go and attack people. Dude, Tony could have the greatest show ever, like he did with All In, and everything goes off to the rails because he has an incident like Brawl-In happen. And you are focused on what? Trolls who will, by the way, never watch your product any goddamn way. You're concerned with those however many how many interactions did you say, JJ? Enlighten me with the exact number real quick.
I don't know the exact number, but the
4 million,
tweets
right?
the tweets he had put out prior to it were ranging about 200,000, 300,000.
200,000.
And that tweet and the ones that followed were getting 5 to 7 million.
Guess what? About a fifth of those people that liked and retweeted that nonsense you posted online are going to tune into those shows. Where the other 95... And let me also elaborate. I said liked and retweeted or reposted, whatever the fuck X is doing now. Just to clarify, interacted with. A fifth of the people that interacted with his post are going to fucking actually tune into the product. My mistake on that one. Just kind of auto-correcting myself on that. Mine are going to tune into those shows. Where the other 95% are laughing in your fucking face and don't care. Stop giving these people attention. You want to freaking make a statement, turn social media off, focus on your content, give us something palatable. It's 2023, not 1998. There's my rant on the subject.
You can hear what people said. They were talking about Vince. You can hear what people say. You just don't have to react to it. Exactly. I mean, did you forget the yes moment? The whole yes movement was we had to listen to his audience.
And that happened. And by the way, I am persona non grata with Mr. McMahon. Okay, nobody hates Vince McMahon more than this person with the freaking Buccaneers winter hat right here. In this room, let me just also autocorrect my statement on that one. Vergania, Jim Cornette, God knows how many other people. Okay,
as far as what we know, Jeff.
But we don't need to delude ourselves. He listened. He just chose to ignore us. Let's calm the brakes there. And by the way, to that point as well, fuck that. We've gone on. I know I said in this podcast we went on ad nauseum, but I'll address this comment here now. Tony should have never signed Punk. I knew there would be issues from the very beginning. Unresolved issues with Colt Cabana, and who knows with who else. I mentioned this before. Tony Khan should have grabbed the fucking ball by the bull by the balls here. Get them in a fucking room and tell them, you're gonna work together whether you fucking like it or not. It's my company, my dime, my time, and you got fans out there that matter, and you need to fucking deliver on those promises. It ain't about comfort. Sometimes it's about discipline. Fucking learn to grow up and fucking work with each other. I think if Punk was told it in that regard, Punk would have fucking gotten it. Tony Khan tried to be fucking Punk's friend, and it ended up costing him at the end of the day. And he tried to be everybody's friend, and it ended up costing him at the end of the day because everybody was to fucking blame in that situation, including Scott Colton, by the way. So, yeah, I just want to fucking throw that under the bus right there. Elaborate, I think, a little bit on that point, because that was a point I really couldn't make because we were so low on time on that podcast. But, again, that's on Tony. That's not on Punk. That's not on Colt. As much as they fucked up, that's not on the Young Bucks or Adam Page or the Dark Order or whoever. That's on Tony Khan for not fucking ringing in his locker room and getting that fucking issue squashed instant fuckingly. That's on him. Anyway, we move. Had balls. Have some balls and discipline these people. You shouldn't have to... The fact that you even have to put in a guy... and not that he's the right candidate for the effing job, mind you, because Danielson's more than a fine candidate to actually put people in their fucking place. But why does Danielson have to be the one to carry that baggage and freaking punish these people? Really? You can't take the ball. You can't take the bull by the balls and do it yourself like Vince McMahon did with Edge lead.
No, because he fears for his life at Gorilla.
Yeah, exactly.
I was just gonna say that because he fears for his life.
Oh my god! Right. By the way, which. Samoa Joe is one of the most honest individuals in this business, and he fucking literally had the best reaction that I've seen. I forget exactly what was said. If I can find the article, I will. But it's absolutely a hilarious comment. In fact, I'm actually determined to look up that article so I can read it for fucking Batum. Okay, so this is from WrestlingNews.co. From Andrew Ravens, okay? This is him transcribing what was said on Mark Raimondi. I might be butchering that, from ESPN. This is exactly what he says. There was a little bit of an incident. We got it broken up. We went out there and wrestled men. That's the gist of it. Everybody wants to be a lot. Everybody wants it to be a lot more than what it is, but that's what it was. And to speak any more on it is pointless unless you're trying to get a scorecard and stuff. But trust me, it wasn't that type of a fight. So everything that pretty much happened in the backstage reports it sounds like it was legit then, especially from coming out of Joe's mouth. That's exactly what went down. So what probably happened is fucking Perry tried to swing, fucking Punk got him in a fucking front face lock, and then a monitor fell on Tony Khan. And then he got it all upsetty. Whatever. I mean, and then he goes on and elaborates, by the way, and he says, not to me, I've seen fights break out, stuff happens. He's seen this over and over again, in other words. But again, that's me. I've been in these situations. I've seen that. I find it funny when people are like, oh, Joe's cool with it. I mean, nah, it was a high-stress situation, sure, but it's one I've seen many times. We got it squashed, we had a show to do, we had a bunch of fans waiting out there, and it was my focus because it was about that moment. We were about to go and have the best night of our lives, which then, unfortunately, turned into the worst night of everybody's fucking lives, I'm sure, in that fucking company, and probably want to make a lot of people leave. It was bad. I mean, it made the company look so fucking bush league, that entire situation. And by the way, it's one of those things where it's like, now the toxicity is spread every fucking where of the situation. Because now you got CM Punk having his thing with Seth Rollins, which I'm not interested in because all you're doing is rehashing the Elite bullshit. Essentially, in their own clever way legally. If there's even an NDA, which I highly fucking doubt, but any goddamn way. Whatever. Then you have fucking Jack Perry, who's now shown up in New Japan, calling himself a scapegoat, ripped up his contract. Who knows if that's even fucking legit or if he's just on excursion until this whole thing blows over. Don't care now, not gonna fucking pay attention to anything he does. And you still got fucking Hangman Adam Page and fucking the Elite just hanging out in AEW. I mean, I'm turning my backs to all of them. You're all fucking jack-offs. And Tony Khan is the biggest fucking one. The only reason I'm not turning my back on his entire product is because there are people that I actually like that are on said product that I actually give a shit about. Because at the end of the day, fuck the companies, it's about the workers. That is my stance on what pro wrestling is now. I don't give a fuck about your company. I give a fuck about the workers within your company. That's how I'm going to be. Because I've tried to put my faith in a company multiple times, and then they fucking disappoint me. I'm not doing that to myself anymore. If I'm going to be a fan of wrestling, I'm going to be a fan of the wrestlers and not the wrestling companies that have let me down over and over again at fucking nauseum. We'll continue with the rant here on this. Dude, I've had people curb stop me on a freaking pavement, man. That story, shit by hurt.
the way.
You want to talk about fearing for my life? That shit happened. Don't talk to me about fearing for my life, you privileged piece of shit. Give me a break. I'm sorry.
He fears for his life behind a Twitter. He fears for his life behind a Twitter screen and behind a phone.
Yeah.
He's a Twitter warrior.
And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that there aren't trolls that absolutely take it way too far. Trust me, we have talked about that ad nauseum too. There are some crazy ass motherfuckers that have tried to kill wrestlers because of what people said on social media. Jericho was a prime victim of that. So was Seth Rollins. It's bad. Don't get me wrong. It's not good. We hate that shit. But as much as we hate that shit, we hate even more when an owner of a fucking company, even if he is defending him fucking self, responds in kind to it. Elaborating on this point a little bit, the reason I say we hate even more, and I will say, because the disclaimer in the beginning, although I think a lot of people nodded in this podcast when I said it, the reason I think we hate this shit even more when a president of a wrestling company does it is because it fuels these wackos to go and do exactly what they did to Seth Rollins and Chris Jericho. The more you respond, the more type of people you are letting into your life, which you don't fucking need. Period. So, I think, just to elaborate on why I said it the way I said it. There we go. Continue.
Well, if you don't learn from the past, you are doomed to repeat it. So, Tony Khan hasn't learned, and here we stand once again, acknowledging AEW may bring the better in-ring product, but as long as he keeps giving this perspective of his own personal image, his company will never thrive as long as his name is attached to it. And
hey, we both ran.
I'm about to say, I think James.
But James isn't here that often anymore, so it's a special event.
That's true. That's true.
I think more could be, if you want James back next week, $10 will secure him for the next show.
Man, I don't know why I paused that. I meant to pause the thing here. The thing with that is I already made a topic that secured my spot for that week, so oops. Didn't really expect that I was going to be covering the Morrow stuff, but yeah. Anyway.
At $5, and we will speed for the next highlight reel, we will do here momentarily regardless. And unless we get other super chats regarding our topic, I think we're about ready to close out our plan out of nowhere agenda with.
Yeah, I'm not even going to fucking finish the rest of it. You can listen to the rest. If you want to hear Jeff Meacham's thoughts on it, go and watch the Open Mic Night's second anniversary special. It was a very fun night, besides that one little blemish because Tony Khan had to ruin everything. But otherwise, it was a very fun show. We were watching the highlight reel, basically, and enjoying clips that I made for the highlight reel. Which, by the way, go check that out also. The Open Mic Night highlight reel, best of 2023, on my channel, Cassidy 18, Jeff Meacham Network, and all channels involving the Multiverse media. Go check it out. Alright. I'm going to go back to what I was talking about a little bit to kind of explain why I think this type of point when it comes to AEW and their etiquette, especially with their president of the company, needed to be fucking addressed. When you make mistakes and you do not learn from them and you keep doing it over and over again, you are costing your independent contractors and your employees jobs. Jobs that could easily be available if you just don't interact with the bullshit online. Perfect fucking case is what happened to Showtime Boxing. Okay? Now, I'm going to tell you right now, boxing has been struggling for a while, and the only reason boxing has even made a comeback, and here's a fucking hot take for you, is because Misfits is the only one to fucking do it correctly. Now, they are not fucking perfect, and I'm not going to fucking sit here and say I'm going to believe in everything that company does, because I don't. I think they need to actually start putting these guys with legit fighters and actually have some matches. The only one that they have done was KSI versus Tommy Fury, and then the fucking gave the wrong guy the victory, because let's fucking be real, Tommy Fury did not win that fight, and he looked like absolute utter shit in that fucking ring. You cannot fucking tell me with a straight face that JJ didn't win that fight. Now, granted, JJ's skill has kind of diminished a little bit over time because he's not training with Vidal Riley anymore. Even so, fucking guy was the better boxer that night. So, like, there's no fucking chance that you're going to tell me, oh yeah, that guy fucking doesn't have it. So yeah, man. I mean, Misfits is the only one doing it right, and they're celebrity boxing, essentially. So the fact that celebrity boxing is actually now outdrawing main boxing, I mean, case in point, look at what happened to Showtime Boxing. Okay? You keep making the same mistakes, and you're bound to fuck yourself over eventually. Jeff said it in this podcast. Tony Khan literally stomped on his own foot with a spiked heel boot. Seriously, that's what he did. And he's done this more over and over again. Constantly. And the more I think about it, the more I'm just over here like, what the fuck are you doing? Your priorities are so fucked up. They are completely out of whack. What in the hell are you doing? I just don't get it. You're at a disadvantage right now in the wrestling market. You are making yourself look so bush league that I don't even think anybody in the wrestling industry wants to associate with your company anymore. And that's a shame because they have friends there. And if you think I'm fucking bluffing, explain to me why TNA has just made a fucking giant ass comeback. Whether that fucking sustains, who the hell knows. But explain to me why. Why? They made a giant comeback. And part of their giant comeback was officially partnering with AAA, which means a lot less talent is going to be available on that side of the side of the roster. You're not going to be able to bring back a Commander easily or El Hijo del Vikingo easily if they're partnered officially with TNA. Bro, New Japan might be next, and there might not be a Forbidden Door this year. It very well might be the case. And people think that that's out of the realm of possibility. But I'm telling you, if Showtime and Bellator can fucking shut its doors and they're not fucking doing those anymore, I guarantee you this can happen to AEW. Especially considering the fact, and we keep forgetting, how many years old are they? 5 years old? At least TNA had some time and a goddamn safe space to get themselves back on the ground. And get full back on their feet under a different company name in Impact Wrestling. At least they had that cushion, you know? You don't have that safety net, Tony. You cannot afford to be making these mistakes where you just shit all over fans' opinions for no reason. You can't do that. You have so many other things going on right now. You have legitimately, and I'm not even kidding when I say this, every company is going to be plagued by what the fuck happened between Brawl Out from 2021 and Brawl In from 2023. Or I'm sorry, Brawl Out of 2022. It feels like it's gone on for years at this point. In that 1.5 year time span, it's now going to continue in different aspects. You have plagued this shit because you refuse to handle your fucking etiquette. You need to stop making those mistakes. Focus on your company. Focus on establishing good relationships. Because the longer you pull this bullshit, is more and more companies aren't going to want to associate with you. More and more companies not wanting to associate with you is going to be less and less eyes to your fucking product. Less eyes to your product means Turner Network is not going to be happy with the ratings, and Turner not being happy with the ratings means the plug is pulled just like it was with Showtime Boxing and Bellator MMA. Stop me when I'm telling lies. It can happen to any company at any fucking time. And that happening to to a company means less jobs for the independent contractors, the professional wrestlers that get all of our asses in the seats. I think it's worth bringing up. I think it's worth having some legitimate concern about the industry. Because I don't think that the only game that should be in town is WWE. And I like the idea of having all these different outlets of professional wrestling. I do think that's good for the industry. Because that means more people can work. There are more people that can gain shine and recognition that I give a shit about to tune in to see. Okay? It's just more opportunities for the workers here. I'd like that to still be the case. That can't be the case if AEW loses their streaming rights and their TV rights. It just won't happen. And newsflash, they're already in a lot of people's eyes their number 4 promotion. They're not even number 2 anymore. They're not even number 3. New Japan, they're number 3 only because they're in a restructuring period. Maybe you can make an argument that AEW is above them only because they kind of have a direction of where they're going. But I'd argue that AEW is in a restructuring period anyway, because they just had to change world champions because their former world champion, our scumbag of the Jeff Meacham Network Multiverse Media, by the way, shout out MJF, he's injured. Okay, so he's not going to fucking be there. And then, Joe just got the championship, which wouldn't have even been my first choice. Never mind the choice they went with. Okay? He wouldn't have been my 5th choice. And I love Joe. But they have to kind of go with it because they had no other option at this point. So, Max is gone. Punk is gone. The Elite just fucking came back, even though I can't stand them. They were an integral part of the show for a bit, and then all of a sudden they weren't. They're in a restructuring period too. They just established a new fucking faction in the Undisputed Kingdom, or whatever the fuck. So, yeah, it's just, who gives a shit? Kinda, I give a shit, but it's like, they're still restructuring. They're in a restructuring phase. New Japan's in a restructuring phase. I think New Japan has a better idea of where the fuck they're going than fucking AEW does. Because I guarantee you that New Japan's going to be next to probably partner up with TNA over AEW, by the way. And if you think I'm kidding, do we not remember what happened at this show? After this show, because Ring of Honor kind of bombed, they screwed the pooch. They lost their fucking partnership with New Japan. Period. Before Tony Khan bought Ring of Honor, when did you see New Japan show up on Ring of Honor TV? You didn't see it at all. Now, I don't know the logistics. Maybe AEW is still allowed to have contracted talent come over to be a part of AEW. Maybe we'll see a Commander. Maybe we'll see an El Hijo del Vikingo again. But I highly doubt it. I want to believe that we might see that. I would like the idea that the wrestling companies can share talent. But I don't know if that's going to last much longer. Because you got Tony making such a fucking stink about everything. Every little thing, instead of the things that actually matter. The things that he was pioneering, which was bring wrestling fans together, bring companies together. He has so fallen off that fucking leash at this point. TNA is doing a better job at that than Tony is, because Tony's so fucking focused on these trolls that, again, I stress this point, would not give a shit to watch a show any goddamn way. They wouldn't care. They just would not care. So why bother giving a shit? So yeah, that's the moral of the story. I think, throughout this entire podcast, if it can happen to Showtime Boxing, and it can happen to fucking, Bellator, because they don't have a proper safety net and they keep making mistakes because they're resting on their success, you're doomed to make mistakes and you're doomed to repeat those same mistakes you made. Tony is doing that right now, and it's very fucking concerning. And it's only concerning to me still because it means if AEW is gone, it's less jobs for the people that are on that roster. And I don't want to see that happen. I bet you, the people that are watching this podcast, you don't want to see that happen. Tony, focus on your shit. Stop giving a fuck. Stop giving the trolls attention. And focus on your goddamn backstage etiquette in your locker room. Period. I'm not saying you have to completely neuter everybody's creativity, but you need to start taking the bull by the balls. You need to delegate when properly able to delegate. but you also need to fucking grab the goddamn bull by the horns and actually do the right thing when the situation arises. You haven't done that, Tony. You haven't done that. You have fucking dropped the ball over and over and over again. And it's gonna cost you big. It's gonna cost you big. It's already costing you fucking big. It doesn't need to happen. So we're gonna end on a bit of a light note before we end this podcast. But real quick before I do that, I'm just gonna pause real quick so I can check my outro screen real quick, because I just literally got the new outro screen set up now. All right, we're all set. So before we end the podcast, kind of wanted to end it on a positive note. And believe it or not, everybody that probably doesn't like Logan Paul is going to be like, ugh, when they see this. But it's part of my setup now. And I just kind of wanted to explain to people that I actually tried Prime. This is the blue raspberry flavor. This is the only flavor that I have tried. I have not tried any of the other flavors at this current point, anyway. I do plan on trying the tropical punch next, and then maybe the lime, the green bottle. I'm gonna try those after one after the other. But the blue raspberry was the first one I tried. So I always wanted to try it, but essentially because I think it was just a lot of people that I was surrounded with at the time were like shitting on Logan and is like, he sucks and whatever. And also, not a lot of people like KSI. I'm like one of the few people that actually enjoy KSI and what he does. And the only reason I'd even buy Prime is because KSI promotes it. So I didn't expect the best at all, right? Like, my expectations were reasonable, I think. I thought, well, this is definitely not going to be like Powerade or Gatorade. It's not going to be as good. Holy shit, was I completely blown away and way off the mark. And, by the way, they're not sponsoring me to fucking plug this shit. By any fucking means. I'm telling you, this is the best sports drink, period. You're not going to find another fucking sports drink better than this. Every other fucking... And here's the reason why. This is the reason I love Prime over Gatorade, Powerade, whatever other fucking sports drink there is out there. Like, legitimately, I have tried those sports drinks, and, like, these motherfucking... These things have flavor. Full flavor. There's no watered downness to any one of their flavors as far as I know. And I only got this to go by, but I assume fruit punch, the tropical punch, the lime is going to be the same as this. If those are just as good as the blue raspberry, holy shit, right? This was so damn good. And like, I have to post a video at some point. Maybe I'll post it in the next podcast. I'll actually get that ready to go. But I tried it when I was at a restaurant for pizza, right? Because I had a hankering for pizza that I haven't had in ages, that, like, a local shop that's, like, right down the street. So I actually ended up trying Prime there. This is where I got the bottle. And legitimately, it was so goddamn good. It was phenomenal. I loved every single second of it. It went well with the pizza. you know, because I'm not using this to, like, work out or anything. I'm using this as, like, a beverage, as a side beverage to my food. It just flowed so nicely. I couldn't begin to tell you how good this is. Like, I'd be here for hours at a time telling you how good this is. I'm telling you, Prime's legit. Give it a fucking try. If you like Gatorade, if you like Powerade, I'm telling you, you'd like this way more than that. I'm not even saying that just to say that. I'm saying that because I mean it. Like, I really had the lowest expectations going in. I didn't expect this to be that good. The taste was amazing. and I mean that. Like, I could taste the blue raspberry, whatever the fuck that is. I taste the flavor. It's really fucking good. It's JHebert approved. All right, it just is. I'm gonna buy more when I can, when I actually get the funds to do so, because I want to try the fruit punch and the lime. And again, I was very surprised. Because I was thinking, well, this isn't going to be good. And it was so good. It tasted like juice. Like, actually, it was juice to me. Like, flavored juice. Like, the really good kind. You know what it reminded me of, actually? And here's a great example of this. For anybody that had Juicy Juice as a kid, that's what Prime reminds me of. I'm not even kidding you. That's how good this shit was. It reminded me of, like, trying Juicy Juice way back in the day. That's how good this was, man. I'm telling you. It's really up there as far as flavor. It's a sports drink like Gatorade and Powerade, but it tastes like Capri Sun. It tastes like Juicy Juice. I'm not kidding. I'm serious when I say that. Now, you may have a different experience with it. Everybody's entitled to their opinion or whatever. I'm not going to fucking dismiss it. If you don't like it, it ain't your flavor. It is what it is. I'm telling you, Prime's legit. I love it. I love that blue raspberry. I'm going to try the fruit punch. I'm going to try the lemon lime when I can. Yeah, if you haven't tried it before and you thought about trying it, even though you don't like Logan Paul, and Lord knows I know how that feels, especially with the fucking CryptoZoo bullshit. But if you thought about trying it for any reason, try it. You will be very surprised at how good it tastes. It's not watered down at all. It tastes flavorful. It's not like Gatorade and Powerade where there's this weird watered down taste to it. It's fucking good. It's I'd even go as far as to say it's fucking exquisite. It really is that good. If you want to fucking work out, this is the best sports drink you can fucking drink. If you just want to eat food, it's the best beverage you can get. It's great. It just tastes good. It's the best of both worlds. Whatever the fuck Prime's doing, they're doing it right. So, that's my thoughts on Prime Energy. They did fucking phenomenal. 2 gorilla thumbs up. And yeah. I just figured I'd kind of end on that little positive note. As you guys saw, I changed the podcast end screen because, again, bygone era. So, I'm just to say... Oh, fuck. Hold on. One more thing. I'm going to pause right here, and then we're going to come back. Well, I'm going to have to fucking cut that because I just realized I fucked up in the last bit. Doesn't matter. Found out now. Anyway... this has been the end of JHebert Side of Things. I hope you guys enjoyed this podcast. Again, kind of changing it up a little bit because the old credit screen was pretty much a bygone era. So, I'm just going to tell you what to check out. Soon coming up, rap song coming out in March, hopefully by the end of March. Don DeMarco show coming back in April probably, as well as Character Select will be debuting in April. Be on the lookout for that. That's going to be my Let's Play series, Character Select. And also, as well, check out anything coming out from the Jeff Meacham Network, Multiverse Media here. And also check out the Open Mic Night Highlight Best of 2023 highlight reel here. That's pretty much it, everyone. And until next time, we will see you on the JHebert side. Peace out.